Hello, this is section 12.5, and we are going to be working with circles in the coordinate plane. So before we deal with circles, let's go back to lines, something we remember from algebra. This is asking you to write the equation for the line. Y equals mx plus b is the equation. In order to write this equation, we need to determine the m and the b. B was y-intercept, m is slope. The y-intercept is where it's crossing the y-axis, 1, 2, 3. And the slope is the rise over run. So we went down 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our equation is y equals my slope added to the y-intercept. We're going to do something similar, but with circles. Key features in a circle is that we need its center and we need its radius. So here's the formula. It's a little bit long. It says in parentheses x minus h squared plus in parentheses y minus k squared equals r squared. Please note that these minuses are part of the equation. The h and the k are positive numbers. So it's going to be x minus whatever's in your h, y minus whatever is your k, and then your r squared, r being radius. So look at these examples here. It says x minus 5. So your center, the h value is a 5. Here the k value, which goes with that y value, is really a negative 3, because it must have been y minus a negative 3, because it's the double negative that made a positive. In these parentheses, there will always be that negative. Here, because we put in a negative 3, it switched the double negative to a positive. So my center is at 5, negative 3. Notice that the r is squared. So that means if r squared equals 9, then r must equal 3. Go ahead and try letter B, recognizing that the ordered pair, that's awful big, this value and this value. Because it needs to be x minus, it needed to have been a negative 1 to create the positive that you see, and y minus a positive 6. R squared here is 4, so my radius must be 2. So the center and the radius. Please note that when you're writing the equations, or just at least see it, they still have an x and they still have a y. Just like when we had y equals mx plus b, my final answer had the y and the x still present, and I tried to write those in blue. So write the equation of the circle. If we're going to write the equation of the circle, the first thing we need is the center. That's that h and that k, and we also need the radius. Here's my center. It's at negative 1, positive 1, 2, 3, and the radius is from the edge of the circle to the center, and I'm going to try to either use a horizontal distance so I can count it nicely, or a vertical distance so that I can count it nicely. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The equation tells me to take in parentheses x minus the x value of my circle. So it's I'm sorry, I forgot my negative there. So x minus a negative 1 squared plus, we're going to take y minus the y value, which happens to be a 3, and it's going to equal the r value squared. Well, r squared is 25. Let me just clean this up real quick, because x minus a negative is a positive, plus y minus, I forgot my negative, or my squared. So there's my final answer. Try the next one. Find your center, find your radius. So my center is at positive 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4, 1, and the radius looks like it's 1, 2, 3. So So x minus the x value of the center, y minus the y value of the center equals the r value squared. Let's try a couple more. This is asking you to write the equation in standard form. Let me write it real quick so we have something to look at. H squared y minus k squared equals r squared. So this is the center of the circle, so here's your h and your k, and then this is your radius. So I'm going to go back through, and I'm going to replace my h, my k, and my radius with their values. So it's a -8, a 0, and the square root of 5. Well, x minus a -8 is x plus 8 squared. Y minus 0 is just y. And the square root of 5 squared is just 5. Go ahead, try the next one. There's the answer. How'd you do? It was x minus 3. Because the x always has that minus, I plugged the 3 in. The y plus 5, it needs to be a plus 5 because remember, it's always a negative here. So if I do minus the -5, it turned into that plus. The radius was 6, so radius squared is 36. All right. This one is a little bit trickier. What this is asking you to do is to actually write the equation. They've given you the center and they're giving you a point, but they haven't actually given you the radius. So here's your h and your k, and this is really an x and a y. Picture what you have. You know that the center is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then somewhere at the point -15, -13, this circle, however big it is going through that point. I don't want to have to use a distance formula or anything like that, but I need to find the radius so that I can actually get the equation. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start by writing the generic equation. And I'm going to plug in what I have and solve for what I don't. Well, it works out that they gave me the h and they gave me the k. The h was a 5 and the k was an 8. The other thing they gave me was they gave me a point. So for just for a moment, why isn't this erasing? There we go. I'm going to replace this x and this y with the value that they gave me, a -15, squeeze it in there, and the -13. So we want to get that x and that y back to just being an x and a y, but if you look for a moment, we have all numbers. We're actually able to get r by itself. So solve. -15 minus 5 gives you a -20 squared. -13 minus 8 gives you a -21 squared equals r squared. If you're going to rely on your calculator, make sure you use parentheses because this is asking you to do -20 times -20, so it's really a positive number. Added to -21 times -21 is a positive value, and it equals r squared. Add them together, I got 841 equals r squared. When I square root both sides, r equals 29. So I'm going to go back to my equation, and I'm going to plug in the h and the k, and now I know r equals 29. So x minus 5 squared, y minus 8 squared equals, this value was always r squared. So I'm not going to put the 29 there. I'm going to put the 841. Does it make sense? Let's try another one. Write the equation of a circle. So they gave you the center. Here's your h, here's your k, and they gave you a point, an x and a y. Visually think about this. The center is at -1, +3, and its circles passing through the point 2, 2. Whoops, I'm trying to get my center to look more center. So we need to find the radius. I'm going to do it by plugging in what I have into the formula and solving for r. So I'm going to write out the formula. X minus h squared, y minus 8k squared equals r squared. I'm going to go through and I'm going to plug in my h and my k value. My h value is a -1, my k value is a 3. Then I'm also going to go back through and plug in this x and this y with the x and the y provided to me. So a 2 and a 2. I have all numbers, so I can go through and solve. 2 minus a -1 is really a plus. 2 minus 3, that's a 9, and a 1, equals r squared. So r squared equals 10. So r really equals the square root of 10. Decimal, don't even go there. Leave it as a square root, because when we go to write the actual equation, we need the r squared value. So I'm going to plug in my h again. I'm going to plug in my k equals r squared. Well, r squared was 10. Forgot my squared. And there's the equation of the circle. Are there any more slides? Yep, there's a couple more on graphing. So graphing, first thing you'll have to do is find the center, then the radius. You'll graph the center and you'll graph your radii. So this center is going to be a -4 and a +1, because remember it was x minus a -4. So I'm going to go ahead and graph that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, +1. The radius is 5. Use the radius to find a point that is up, down, left, and right from the center. So I'm going to scooch this up a little bit. So I'm going to go 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, close enough, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And from here, draw a circle the best you can. Go ahead and try the next one. All right, here's the last problem. I was able to determine that the center was a +7 and a -2, and that the radius is really the square root of 6. So for graphing purposes, I needed to find the decimal. It's about 2.4. So I graphed the value 7, -2, and then I went 2.4 the best I could to the left, to the right, up and down, and drew, that is a perfect circle right there. But I drew it the best I could. That concludes not only this video, but all the videos for Unit 10. Please let me know if you have any questions. Good luck, you made it.